Next week's Beyond the Gates spoilers update, June 9th to 13th, promises to plunge the characters into even darker waters. In the quiet corridors of Hamilton House, the mood is tense as Bill Hamilton lies recovering from a new medical crisis. Though the initial shock has passed and his vital signs have steadily improved, those who love him know that peace is fleeting. Rumors abound that another disaster is lurking on the horizon, one so sudden and severe that it could snatch him from this world before anyone can say goodbye. Naomi Hamilton, ever-devoted daughter, has been haunted by guilt since Bill's collapse. She retraces every conversation, every choice, wondering if she somehow triggered her father's relapse. Sleepless nights leave her staring at the ceiling, replaying moments when she might have convinced him to skip a test or push through exhaustion. Even as Vernon Dupree's steady presence offers solace, Naomi recoils from his compassion, convinced that forgiveness is beyond her reach. She pours her remorse into frantic prayers at the family chapel, hands trembling as she lights candles for Bill's recovery, yet each flame flickers like the uncertain rhythm of his heart. Vernon, however, refuses to let her carry this burden alone. Drawing from the deep well of his own experience, having watched his sister Anita navigate her own crash, reminds Naomi that love cannot be measured by perfection. He stays by her side through long nurses' shifts, offering a gentle shoulder and listening as she unburdens her fears. At night, he brings her cups of chamomile tea and they sit by Bill's bedside, sharing memories of simpler times, the way Bill used to tease Naomi about her childhood sketches, or the triumphant grin he'd wear when Naomi won her first skating competition. In those moments, Naomi glimpses a path back to hope, though dread still coils in her chest, anticipating news that could undo all the fragile progress. Meanwhile, in the Hamilton estate's refurbished wing, Andre Richardson and Danny Dupree find themselves entangled by the ripple effects of Bill's health scare. Andre, Bill's protege at the law firm, balances his professional obligations with personal worry. His hands shake as he signs affidavits, his thoughts drifting to the man who mentored him since his own family's dissolution. Danny, nursing wounds left by her divorce from Andre, discovers herself drawn to his vulnerability. Seeing him at the hospital, pale and worried, ignites a tenderness she thought long buried. She hovers at his elbow, offering encouragement, surprising herself with the flutter in her chest whenever he offers a tentative smile. This rekindled affection fills Danny with conflicting emotions. On one hand, she mourns the loss of the marriage she once cherished. On the other, she feels guilt for the relief and warmth she experiences now. She confides in Vernon, who listens with quiet sympathy, urging her to follow her heart while remaining mindful of Andre's emotional fragility. Their conversations stretch late into the night as they wander the hospital gardens, moonlight shimmering on dew-laden petals. Danny begins to understand that healing for both her and Andre may come from embracing what once tore them apart, weaving it into a new bond founded on resilience. Beyond the hush of hospital wings, Anita Dupree, Vernon's wife, brings news of the Articulates' reunion all-female ensemble that once captivated audiences with their harmonies and camaraderie. Tracy and Sharon have agreed to return to the stage alongside Anita, but the path to that first rehearsal bristles with tension. Tracy, ever the perfectionist, arrives clutching annotated sheet music, her eyes snapping at every missed tempo. Sharon, free-spirited and irreverent, sasses Tracy's corrections, insisting that music must breathe, not be confined by rigid rules. Anita finds herself mediator, recalling the sisterhood that once bound them, midnight jam sessions in cramped basements, giggles over spilled coffee and harmonica solos, and triumphant high-fives after sold-out performances. Yet before they can resurrect the Articulates' signature blend, old resentments flare. Tracy accuses Sharon of unprofessionalism, pointing to the night Sharon left a gig in Detroit after a trivial disagreement, leaving the group stranded. Sharon retorts that Tracy's obsessive rehearsals nearly killed her love for music, turning every note into a battleground. Anita weaves between them, reminding each of their shared history, the laughter, the tears, the triumphant encore at the Maplewood Theater that solidified their bond. As the tension crescendos, they agree to set aside past grievances for the sake of their audience and for the love of the music that once defined them. Meanwhile, Kat Richardson continues her calculated campaign to undermine Leslie and Eva Thomas. After finding Eva's personal boxing helmet and gloves in her hotel suite, Kat hides them in strategic spots under the carpet in the Thomases' guest room, tucked behind Jacob Hawthorne's desk. The plan hinges on Jacob discovering these items and assuming Eva has been hiding gambling debts or secret dealings. Kat imagines Jacob's furrowed brow, the hurt in his eyes when he confronts Eva, the seeds of mistrust growing between them. But Kat's scheme involves more than planted props. She leaks a rumor to the local press that Eva's philanthropic ventures are fronts for money laundering, framing it as a rumor worthy of investigation. When Leslie Thomas, Eva's stalwart sister, springs to her defense, Kat sows discord by sending Leslie clandestine emails hinting that Eva's legal acumen might be compromised, citing an anonymous source who claims that Eva's bar license is at risk. Kat watches from the shadows as Jacob's brow furrows and Leslie graduates from suspicion to righteous anger. Yet Kat miscalculates. Leslie's loyalty to Eva runs deeper than her doubts. When Leslie corners Kat at the annual benefit gala, demanding answers, Kat feels the walls closing in. She remembers the night she snuck into Eva's suite, how her own heart pounded faster than she expected, and realizes she may have crossed a line from which there is no return. Elsewhere, the line between past and present blurs as Martin Richardson's secret threatens to break free. Rumors swirl of Martin's clandestine activities during his college years, stories of late-night phone calls to unnamed contacts, cryptic ledger entries tucked in journal margins, and a hidden ledger bearing deals that hint at corporate espionage. As old acquaintances return to town for the Articulates reunion, one of them, a journalist turned historian, arrives with a battered box of letters. Behind closed doors, Martin confronts the visitor, voice trembling as he wrestles with the notion that the past he thought buried remains alive, pulsing like a ticking bomb. In the Richardson household, Bradley "Smitty" Smith, ever inquisitive, has been handed a new assignment: to investigate his own wife's secret past. Martin's wife Smitty's beloved partner carries a shadow he can no longer ignore. Smitty pores over bank statements and travel logs, comparing her stories with official records. At first, he tells himself it is routine due diligence. Families of political figures often bear scrutiny. But late at night, as he pores over discrepancies, a trip to Zurich reported as a visit to a cousin in Baton Rouge, and unaccounted for sum transferred from a shell corporation, feels the chill of betrayal creeping in. Every question to his wife is met with a practiced smile and deflection, fueling his resolve to follow the breadcrumbs, even if it leads him into the darkest corners of her past. Meanwhile, Ted Richardson makes an unexpected proposition to Eva Thomas. After a serendipitous conversation in the hospital cafeteria, Eva, sipping herbal tea while reviewing legal briefs, Ted approaches her with a twinkle in his eye. He recounts fond memories of her tenure at Richardson and Sons, recalling how her meticulous legal mind once saved the firm millions. He speaks with genuine admiration for her analytical abilities and her unflappable demeanor under pressure. Then, almost bashfully, he invites Eva to join his new venture, a boutique arbitration wing he's launching to handle high-stakes international disputes. Eva's breath catches at the offer. Though she values her independence, the chance to work alongside Ted, someone who respects her intellect and acknowledges her worth, stirs a longing for the dynamic she once had. As Ted outlines the role, Eva senses that this opportunity could be both a professional renaissance and a second chance to reclaim confidence she lost during recent scandals. In the leafy suburbs, Ashley Morgan grows uneasy about her boyfriend, Derek Baldwin. Their relationship, once a haven of laughter and shared dreams, is now shadowed by Derek's evasive texts and sudden withdrawals. When Ashley confronts him at a quiet cafe, she sees the guilt flicker in his eyes. Derek brushes it off as work stress, yet Ashley's instincts warn her of infidelity or worse. Their conversation spirals into accusations and defense, his frustration igniting her insecurities. She wonders if their paradise has been marred by secrets they both fear to voice aloud. The tension between them surges like a storm on the horizon, threatening to upend the sanctuary they built together. Amid all this turmoil, Chelsea Hamilton finds herself face to face with Madison, the mysterious woman she met in a bar just days before. Chelsea, seeking distraction from her father's illness, had confided in Madison over cocktails, drawn to her keen insight and empathetic listening. Now, Chelsea's heart stutters as she recognizes Madison in the hospital corridor, sterile scrubs and clipboard in hand. To Chelsea's astonishment, this woman is none other than Dr. Madison Montgomery, the physician tending to Bill's fragile heart. Their reunion is electric, charged by Chelsea's mix of relief, embarrassment, and intrigue. Dr. Montgomery offers a warm smile, brushing off the coincidence as serendipity, but Chelsea senses an unspoken connection, an emotional thread binding them. As days pass, Chelsea leans on Madison for support, sharing stories of her childhood, how her father always cheered her on, how she felt invincible when Bill lifted her onto his shoulders. Madison listens intently, her medical detachment softening as she recalls her own family's battles with illness. Yet beneath her calm exterior, Madison carries burdens of her own memories of patients she couldn't save, the late-night calls from anxious families, the guilt she shoulders with solitary resolve. When Chelsea tests her newfound friendship by probing Madison's personal life, Madison's composure cracks. A flicker of pain crosses her eyes before she masks it with professional poise, reminding Chelsea that doctors must guard their own hearts to mend others. And so, as the week unfolds, each character stands on the brink of transformation. Bill's fragile survival binds them all, drawing out guilt, devotion, love, and ambition in equal measure. Naomi's redemption, Danny's conflicted longing, Kat's reckless gambit, Martin's hidden sins, Smitty's quest for truth, Eva's career crossroads, Ashley's love under siege, and Chelsea's unexpected alliance with Dr. Montgomery all converge like tributaries flowing toward a turbulent confluence. The gates have been opened, and beyond them lies a storm of secrets, reckonings, and choices that will redefine each life in ways no one yet comprehends. A sudden alarm blares through the hushed corridors of Hamilton House. See a code blue at Bill's bedside. Nurses rush in as monitors scatter erratic beeps, vainly tracing the faltering pulse of the once sturdy patriarch. In a heartbeat, the air thickens with dread. This is no mere hiccup in his recovery, but a full-blown cardiac arrest. Within seconds, ventilators hiss to life and a team of physicians surrounds him, hands flying over his chest in urgent compressions. Naomi Hamilton, drawn by the clamorous call, arrives at the doorway as the emergency teams wheel her father's bed into the ICU suite. Her knees buckle beneath her, and she clasps the doorframe, beads of sweat on her brow. This blow, more violent than the last, threatens to shatter whatever fragile hope she had stitched together. Tears blur her vision as she silently prays that Bill will defy fate once more. While doctors work to stabilize Bill, Naomi's mind floods with self-recrimination. In the waiting area, surrounded by antiseptic and sterile walls, she imagines herself as both architect and destroyer of her father's misfortune. Every decision feels incriminating. The late-night insistence that Bill forego a stress test, the heated quarrel over his diet, the angry words flung in frustration at his frailty. Each memory twists into guilt's merciless lash. Vernon Dupree appears, his calm presence slicing through her panic. He curls her fingers into his, but Naomi pulls away not in anger at him, but at herself. Her voice shakes as she whispers, "This is my fault." Vernon's steady gaze meets hers. He presses a finger to her lips and murmurs that love is never measured by fault, but by unwavering support, even in the darkest of storms. Meanwhile, at the Richardson-Dupree law offices, Andre Richardson stares at his reflection in the polished mahogany table of his corner office. The unexpected alert of a text from Danny Dupree flickers on his phone. "I'm here for you." His heart lurches. He thinks of Danny's warm concern at the hospital, her soft hand resting on his arm as he confided his fears about Bill's health. That gentle comfort, once a memory of a failed marriage, now glows with a fragile possibility. Andre's reflection shows a man at a crossroads, the loyal protege who owes everything to Bill Hamilton, or the wounded ex-husband who longs for the domestic harmony he and Danny once shared. He texts back, "Thank you," though he knows those two words carry the weight of renewed hope and latent guilt. At the Articulate's rehearsal studio, Anita Dupree surveys the makeshift stage with both pride and trepidation. The faded velvet curtains, the scattered sheet music, the gleam of microphone stands, all relics of a golden era she shares with Tracy and Sharon. Tonight marks their first rehearsal in over a decade. The door clicks open as Tracy strides in, her posture rigid with determination. She drapes annotated scores over the piano, the red ink of her notes blazing with precision. Sharon follows, breezy in her flowing skirt, eyes dancing with mischief. She tosses Anita a sly grin and whispers, "Ready to rock, Mama?" Anita exhales, caught between their fierce passions, Tracy's obsessive drive and Sharon's free-spirited flair. She knows that to recreate their legendary harmonies, she must channel both extremes into one unified vision. They begin with Golden Embers, the song that once launched their career. Tracy taps her foot with metronomic accuracy, while Sharon sways erratically, her voice stretching the melody into playful improvisations. Anita counts off, attempting to rein in the discord. Tension coils as Tracy snaps at Sharon for a missed beat. Sharon retorts, half laughing, half mocking, "We need to feel the music, not treat it like a court order." Their voices rise, staccato and heated. Anita steps between them, raising her hands. She reminds them of the magic found in their imperfections, how Tracy's precision sharpened Sharon's spontaneity, and how Sharon's looseness softened Tracy's rigidity. Slowly, their quarrel subsides into tentative harmony. As they blend, their voices, a whisper of broken chords knitting into a soaring carusa, flicker of joy crosses their faces. The promise of reconciliation resonates in the vaulted ceilings. Back in the Thomas mansion, Kat Richardson's machinations reach their apex. She watches through the grand bay window as Jacob Hawthorne paces the courtyard, the absurd boxing helmet tucked under his arm. Kat's heart thuds with dark satisfaction. Her planted evidence has taken root. Jacob's face, etched with confusion and hurt, turns toward the house as if expecting an explanation from Eva. But Eva is absent, lost in Ted Richardson's proposition, leaving Leslie Thomas to catch Jacob's distress. Leslie invites him in, every syllable of her concern a dagger meant to wound Eva's reputation. Kat slips away, her lips curling into a triumphant smile. Yet beneath that veneer, a strange unease stirs. The thrill of her triumph mingles with a specter of guilt she cannot shake. In the study of the Richardson estate, Martin Richardson pores over the brittle letters delivered by the historian. Each envelope crackles with secrets, references to covert meetings in remote cabins, ledger entries naming shell corporations, and a final letter that speaks of a desperate bargain, a promise of silence in exchange for a favor too dark to name. Martin's hands tremble as he reads the sign-off, "Your secret partner." His breath catches. The implication is clear. The past he buried with lies, bribes, and subtle threats remains alive, poised to consume him. As the clock ticks toward midnight, Martin realizes his only escape may be confession, and the price of honesty may be heartbreak or worse. Late that night, Bradley "Smitty" Smith receives his marching orders. From his desk on the lower floor of Richardson and Sons, a sealed envelope arrives bearing instructions to investigate his own wife's background. Martin Richardson's secrecy has extended into Smitty's personal life. The task is to verify his wife's alibi for every trip she claimed, audit her financials, and unearth any inconvenient truths. Smitty's heart clenches. He imagined his marriage as a fortress against the world's uncertainties, not as a detective's puzzle. He summons courage and knocks on his wife's study door. She greets him with the warmth he loves, but behind her smile, Smitty discerns an unreadable note. Every casual question becomes an internal battle. Should he trust her when the evidence hints at deception? The chasm of suspicion yawns between them as he slips away, resolve hardening like steel. At the hospital cafeteria, Eva Thomas nurses a cup of green tea when Ted Richardson appears, slipping into the seat across from her. His presence carries the gravity of a man used to command, softened by genuine admiration. He speaks of his new international arbitration wing, outlining plans for Eva to lead the legal research team. His tone is both professional and personal, a subtle reminder of their past camaraderie. Eva listens, the rhythmic clink of her spoon against porcelain a counterpoint to the pulse in her ears. The proposal dazzles her with promise, a chance to apply her forensic legal mind on a global stage and to renew the confidence rattled by recent slanders. Yet she hesitates, aware that accepting could entangle her in Richardson family politics once more. As Ted leans forward, earnest eyes fixed on hers, Eva senses that this crossroads may redefine her career and perhaps her heart. Across town in a dimly lit bistro, Ashley Morgan sips lukewarm coffee opposite Derek Baldwin. The comfortable warmth they once shared has curdled into tension. Ashley's gaze flicks to Derek's phone, ever present on the table. An incoming message pings, and Derek's hand twitches toward it. Ashley's lip trembles as she reaches out to cover his fingers. "What's going on?" she asks softly. Derek's smile is brittle. "Nothing you need to worry about." Yet his eyes avoid hers. Ashley inhales, steadying her voice. "We promised honesty. If you can't share what's on your mind, maybe this," her gesture sweeps between them, "isn't working." Derek's jaw tightens. A storm brews in his dark gaze, and Ashley braces for a confession that could shatter the fragile foundation of their love. Meanwhile, Chelsea Hamilton navigates the sterile corridors toward Dr. Madison Montgomery's office. Since discovering that her confidant from the bar is also her father's doctor, Chelsea has felt a swirl of gratitude and disquiet. Madison's professional calm masks unknown depths, and Chelsea finds herself both drawn to and wary of the woman's composed exterior. Today, Chelsea arrives unannounced, determined to breach the barrier between patient care and personal connection. Madison rises, surprise briefly softening her features before she recovers her professional mask. They exchange pleasantries, yet beneath the courtesies lies tension. Chelsea yearns for more insight into her father's condition. Madison fears that revealing too much could burden the young woman she's grown fond of. As Chelsea presses for details, Madison falters, her carefully measured speech stumbling over medical jargon she'd normally wield with ease. Guilt flickers in her eyes before she clears her throat and warns Chelsea gently that too much knowledge can damage hope. Chelsea's brows knit in frustration. She argues that hope is sustained by understanding, not by ignorance. Madison's composure cracks. A tremor in her voice betrays the weight of her own fears that every update she gives feels like deciding which fragments of reality her patients can bear. They step closer, and for a moment their roles blur, doctor and daughter transformed into two souls seeking solace in each other's honesty. Back in the ICU, alarms silence as Bill Hamilton's vitals stabilize once more. Naomi, summoned by Vernon, finds her father unconscious but alive, surrounded by exhausted but triumphant medical staff. Vernon stands beside her, arms open. Naomi collapses into his embrace, tears mingling with relief. Yet as she holds him, Naomi senses the fragility of this reprieve, that another crisis could strike without warning. The road ahead stretches uncertain and perilous, paved with potential heartbreak and unexpected alliances. In the hush that follows, every character stands on the cusp of destiny. Andre and Danny, their shared past a canvas for a future yet unwritten. Tracy, Sharon, and Anita, voices shaking off old wounds to recreate unity and art. Kat, teetering on the edge of ruin as her own schemes threaten to consume her. Martin, haunted by a secret that promises a tragic reckoning. Smitty, torn between devotion and duty as he hunts the truth about the woman he loves. Eva, poised to step into new power yet wary of entanglements. Ashley, demanding honesty that could either save or sunder her relationship. Chelsea and Madison, delicate confidants navigating the fine line between hope and despair. Their lives converge around one man's fragile heartbeat, each propelled by love, ambition, guilt, and the inexorable pull of secrets that refuse to stay buried. As dawn breaks over the city, the stage is set for revelations that will reshape every bond and for choices that will echo long after the final curtain falls.